The following program is being presented to you by a community producer. The statements, views, and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of ALC TV or the City of Avon Lake.
Hi, I'm Suzie Dills, and welcome to Starry Trails Adventure Through the Stars, our October edition. Every month, we'll talk about cosmic highlights and take an adventure through the night sky. So don't forget to visit starrytrails.com for illustrations, maps, my audio. You can pull it up on your smartphone, all the tools you need to head out in your backyard and enjoy the night sky. So we still have a spectacular 3-planet extravaganza for our month of October. We're still going to enjoy the summer Milky Way. We have the full Hunter's Moon on October 24th. We're going to enjoy the fall constellations, and I love to step out on those warm October nights, take a deep breath, smell the scents of autumn, and listen to the very last of the crickets before our colder weather sets in. We had another great star party on September 16th. It was a Sunday evening. We had some families come out. We did get a chance to see the crescent moon, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. Before the clouds from Hurricane Florence rolled on in, we just had a nice clear pocket for about an hour and a half. You can see in this photo here, Savannah Strobe. She really enjoyed the evening. She was able to get photos of Mars, of Arcturus, of Saturn, and also the moon. So it was a great night. We have another star party coming up on October 14th. I'll talk about that later in the show. So let's talk about our highlights for October. We have the planets Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars still visible. Venus now is setting very close to the sun, so we'll enjoy Venus again next year. But for now, if you're looking towards the western sky, southwest, you're going to still see brilliant Jupiter. It's getting lower each night. To the left of that, the golden colored object is Saturn. And then, of course, to the left of Saturn, blazing brightly still, is Mars, red-orange in the south sky. If you noticed Mars last month, we had a couple pairings with the moon, a couple clear nights. It was just really spectacular. It was great to see the moon and Mars right below it. So I hope you got to enjoy that. It'll be coming up again in October. And then towards the end of the month, we're going to have a special guest visitor planet. We're going to have the planet Mercury. It's going to make an appearance at the end of the month. The best time to view is going to be the last week in October towards October 29th. And a great way to find Mercury is, of course, we're going to be able to see Jupiter. It's so brilliant still in the western sky. And we're going to look just below there. You have to have a nice viewpoint of the western, southwestern sky. And if you can't catch Mercury with just your eyes, grab a pair of binoculars and scan just below Jupiter. Give it a try. It'll be great to see Mercury again peeking out right after sundown. So let's talk about our hike. We're going to head out about 8 o'clock on a nice clear October evening. You want to make sure you grab your jacket. This time of year, it's starting to get chillier. Of course, your binoculars, star map, bug spray for those warmer evenings. We still have some mosquitoes out there. And remember, when you're using your star map, you're going to make sure that the direction that you're facing is at the bottom of the wheel. So we're going to get ready to go on out. We're going to look towards the western sky first. That's our easy point because, of course, we know that's where the sun sets. We're going to see the beautiful colors of the sundown. We're going to see brilliant Jupiter. It's really going to help us kind of navigate around the western sky. We're going to look to the right and up slightly You'll see that orange-yellow star. That is Arcturus. Now, Arcturus had been around since springtime, and we're going to see it set earlier each night. Another way to find Arcturus, we talk about this often, is to arc off the handle of the Big Dipper, arc to Arcturus. And then we're going to trek up above Arcturus. We're going to look for that semicircle in the stars. That's Corona Borealis, or the Northern Crown. And then up slightly, you'll see the keystone shape, and that is Hercules, our bravest and strongest hero. He's still hanging out there in our western sky for a little bit longer. And then we're going to look at the patterns that people, as they imagined when they connected the stars long ago, in that part of the sky, in the western sky. You'll see Corona, you'll see Hercules, and then if you put the pictures to those patterns, you can imagine how they came up with some of the stories for Greek mythology long ago. And you can see the Big Bear, the Big Dipper, and see how the handle arcs over to Arcturus. And then if we just look a little bit higher up overhead, we're going to see the three bright stars of the summer triangle. So we're still seeing Vega, Deneb, Altair. If we connect those up, of course you'll see that pattern of a triangle. And then off to the left of our triangle stars, you're going to see, it looks like a kite shape. That's Delphinus the dolphin. And then a constellation that I love to point out with our summer triangle stars, a nice easy one, something that you can get out and enjoy in your backyard. I just find that star Deneb, and imagine that to be the tail of Cygnus the swan. And then three stars in a row right below it would be the outstretched wings, and then the long neck and head. You can see that star Alberia would be the head of our swan, and that is really a beautiful sight in a telescope. I'm hoping we get to see that at our next star party because that's a double star, so it's always a cool thing to look at on during a star party. And then if you want to kind of imagine the swan pattern, this is what Cygnus, this is how they saw that picture in the stars, just flying right through the summer triangle. And now we're going to face south, so we're going to turn to the left, and of course you're going to see Mars blazing brightly, and then to the right of that will be golden-colored Saturn. And remember, where Saturn is, it's positioned right there on that Milky Way corridor. So we're going to kind of remember that, so when we talk about our binocular highlights later, that's really where you'll start at the southern horizon and just trail on up through the summer triangle to see all those stars that are part of that beautiful Milky Way that we can see at this time of year. And of course Mars, it's just been really great to have Mars, just spectacular over the last couple months, easy to find. Here's our patterns. Sagittarius, of course, was the teapot shape where we find Saturn right above the lid. Notice Scorpius is getting very low now in our southwestern sky as we head into autumn. So we know the story goes that Orion was defeated by Scorpius. They were placed in the sky forever, but they're never in the sky at the same time. So as soon as we see Scorpius departing there from the southwestern sky, we're going to look towards the southeast, and we'll see Orion coming up. So next couple months, we'll get to see our mighty hunter again. And now we're going to turn to the opposite part of the sky. Notice the position of the Big Dipper. We've been watching it as we head through the seasons. So in the autumn, you really have to have a great northern view to see the Big Dipper, because it's very low now on the northern horizon. And remember how important that was for people long ago. They knew it was time to harvest and to prepare for winter. And then it also is our guide to the North Star. So we'll just take the two stars at the end of the cup of the Big Dipper, draw that imaginary line across to Polaris, or the North Star, and we know that's our direction star. It's the only star that remains in the same position as all of our other stars move as the Earth rotates. So what a great navigation star that is. So just take those two stars, that'll guide you right over to the North Star. And then to the right of the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, you'll notice that sideways W, and that's Queen Cassiopeia. If we bring up our patterns, sometimes it's hard to imagine in that W shape, Queen sitting on her throne. And then to the right of there is her daughter, Princess Andromeda. And then below that, the hero Perseus. And he saved Princess Andromeda from the sea monster by holding up the head of Medusa. And so always some enjoyable stories in Greek mythology. And you can see the big bear, little bear for our Big Dipper, Little Dipper patterns. And one more turn to the right, and we're going to be looking direction east. Kind of quiet over there in the eastern sky right now as we get into autumn. We don't see a lot of real bright stars in the eastern sky at this time of year, but you'll see 4 stars that if we connect those together, they make the great square of Pegasus. So give that a try. Sometimes I use the summer triangle Delphinus, look right below there for those 4 stars, and you won't see any stars in the center, so maybe that'll help you to find the 4 stars for Pegasus. And then the pattern for our beautiful winged horse up there in the eastern sky right now at this time of year. All right, now we're going to take out the binoculars. We're going to get ready for some of those highlights. So grab your binoculars. We're going to scan through the Milky Way Corridor. So if you can remember, we were looking at Saturn earlier to the right of Mars. That's where you're going to begin scanning. That's a great part of the Milky Way, lots of deep sky objects that you're going to pull out with your binoculars, and then just continue up overhead through our summer triangle stars, and those are easy to find, and then all the way up to the north where you find the W, sideways W, Cassiopeia. So once again, maybe you want to get your lawn chair out or have a chair out and just scan through that part of the sky. It's just surprising how many stars you're going to see on a clear night, just scanning through the Milky Way Corridor. And then our patterns that go along with the Milky Way Corridor, you'll see it starts down there by Sagittarius in the south and then runs right up through. You can see Cygnus, and then all the way up to the north where you'll find Cassiopeia and our hero Perseus. Great viewing. And then another challenge. This is always the fun one. This is the coat hanger at Asterism. So what we're going to do is you got to remember where to find Altair, which is one of the summer triangle stars. So when you find that, you're going to, if you're facing towards the west and you're looking at Altair, so you got to get your map back out, locate that star, and just scan to the right, and that's where you're going to see this pattern in the stars, the upside down coat hanger. It's always a lot of fun. We were checking that out at our star party in August. People were getting a kick out of that, because it's pretty cool to see it. And it's a challenge, so it's fun to find it. And then we're going to go over to Cassiopeia. She's going to guide us to a couple really phenomenal deep sky objects that we can see easily in our backyard with binoculars. So go back to the W pattern, take that top point of the W, and you're going to scan slowly to the right and look for a circular fuzzy object. When you find that, that's the Andromeda Galaxy. So that is the galaxy that's closest to our Milky Way galaxy. Believe it or not, it's 2.5 million light years from us. So imagine the light left that galaxy 2.5 million years ago, and we're just seeing it now. And another cool fun fact is that's the most distant object we can see with our human eyes. So once again, those binoculars, you got to be steady, you got to be patient, and you got to practice. But it's really cool to find the galaxy right off of Cassiopeia. And then the W shape, the bottom part of the W, the bottom point, if you scan off of that to the right, you are going to see two star clusters in that part of the sky. We call it the double cluster in Perseus, the constellation Perseus. So slowly scan off the bottom point of the W. So lots to see, not only with the planets, but some really cool binocular things in the fall. So give it a try on the next clear night. Okay, so let's talk about our next star party. So Sunday, October 14th is the next one at Walker Road Park. It's from 7 o'clock to 9. Remember, at this time of year, our sun is setting earlier, so we can go out right after dinner. We don't have to wait for it to get dark. And we're going to enjoy the first quarter moon, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and we'll be looking at some of those deep sky objects and maybe some double stars too. So hope you can come out, and maybe we'll get a couple cool photos too that night if we get a chance. But please join me as part of the star parties on behalf of the Avon Lake Park and Recreation Department, 7 to 9 on October 14th. Well, folks, another great stargazing night. Coming up next month, we have the Leonid meteor shower, and also we're going to start to see more and more of those fall constellations, and we're going to preview what's going to be coming up here in winter time. So thanks so much. We'll see you next month.
The preceding program was presented to you by a community producer. The statements, views, and opinions expressed were not necessarily those of ALC TV or the City of Avon Lake.